there, folks. It's Jimmy Stewart here, hoping this is finding you all doing well. Today's video, we're going to do the comparison that I've been talking about and everybody's been requesting of the 335 style guitars that I currently have. And we're talking about the three that are sitting here: the Firefly FF338, the Monoprice Indio Boardwalk, and the Grout 335 style in matte finish with P90s. Now all three of these guitars are basically semi-hollow 335 style guitars based on the Gibson 335, although they differ in some aspects in each different one of them. But all three bodies are a little bit different. All three have a few different aspects to them. So today we're going to do a comparison video and a shootout, as it were, of all three, and give you as much information for each one. We'll do that in sections, and I'll start by giving you specs on each guitar, and then we'll do some comparisons of each guitar, and of course we'll do some tone checks with them as well. So let's get to it, folks. Okay, so for today's shootout comparison, I'm going to start with one of the first 335 copies that I did get. Now I've had this the longest, so I'm going to start with this one first. This is the Firefly FF338. This is in a wine finish, and there was very few of these that came out. Since then, Firefly has released dozens and dozens of different finishes. This I picked up. This came out in the spring of 19, and it was one of the first inexpensive guitars that I actually purchased here for the channel. I have since had three of these. I had a Sunburst, I have this wine color, and I also have a gold top that's in a case over there. But this particular one I bought early. Again, this was a 19 batch. As you know, the Firefly FF38s are the only, well, so far as I know, the only model that Firefly and Firebird released without a serial number. So they don't come with a serial number. But this batch was from the spring of 2019. And it was, again, in the wine finish. Very few of these came out. In fact, I haven't seen many of these at all in this particular finish. But like I said, they've released hundreds of, or not hundreds, but they've released dozens of finishes since then, mostly going out with spalted and flame tops. Very few of the original colors. The original colors were black, red, the cherry red, the black, the sunburst. They did this wine, and they did a couple of greens and blues and things like that, but now most of them are all burst colors. They're flame maple tops, they're spalted tops. Very few of the original colors that are left, and very few that I have. In fact, I've never seen another wine. I know there's some out there, but this is a pretty rare color. Again, the Firefly FF338 is a 24/75 scale. It is a mahogany body with a maple set neck. It has a rosewood fretboard and a bone nut. Dual humbucker pickups and your standard 2-volume, 2-tone with a 3-way switch down here. And you'll notice that this does have a polka chip on the 3-way. This came originally with a Tune-o-matic bridge, an ABR style Tune-o-matic with a retaining wire in it. That particular bridge that came on this with the retaining wire had some rattles to it, so I did end up replacing that original bridge with a Music Lily roller bridge, again a Tune-o-matic type, and that solved all the problems I was having with the original bridge. And again, it wasn't a big problem, it was just that it was making noise. It had the retaining wire in there. I probably could have fixed it, but I just decided to replace it. In fact, I replaced all the bridges in my 338s with the Tune-o-matic roller bridge. They ran about $20 a piece. When I first bought this guitar, it was $129. They are now, if you can find one of the standard colors, not the flame maple tops or the burst tops or any of that kind of stuff, but the standard colors I think are running around $160 now, plus another $20-something for shipping. So you're looking at around $180, $190 in that ballpark. But I paid $129 for this one, which was a bargain when they first came out in the early part of 2019. I left the pick guard on this, and other ones I have taken off, and some didn't come with a pick guard, but this one came with pick guards, and I did leave it on. So this is, again, completely stock with the exception of the Music Lily roller bridge that I put on there. Again, it's a set neck. It has got binding both sides of the body, binding in the F-holes. That was done very, very well. And your standard, I think these are Jinho tuning keys. I'm not sure who actually makes them, but most of these guitars that you'll find coming in, especially from overseas, Asia, China, Korea, Vietnam, most of them will have a Jinho or some type of Jinho tuning key on here. The tuning keys have been very, very good on this guitar, so I haven't bothered replacing them. Again, this guitar is a mahogany body, both back and sides. You've got some nice binding on the front. Again, binding on the fretboard up and down. This came in with very nice frets, no fret sprout, any of that kind of good stuff. It played very, very nice. I had to do a setup on it and a fingerboard cleaning and fret polishing like I do just about for any guitar that comes in. And then this one, I will show you the weight. It came in, it weighs in just over that 7-pound mark, about 7 pounds, 2 ounces, I believe it is. Take a look at the shot that I just weighed. So it's a nice guitar. This is the Firebird Firefly FF338. Again, these come now in many, many different finishes, and the prices go from the basic, like this particular finish, although you can't get this finish anymore. I haven't seen it since the original drop, which was in April. I believe it was April of 2019. But the standard finish, a single color finish, not a flame top and or reverse top, are now running at $160 plus $20-something in shipping. Back when these were on Amazon, they were $129 when I first picked this guitar up in the standard finish. They didn't have flame tops. They didn't have the burst tops. They didn't have any of that stuff. They just had the basic finishes. Again, on this, you've got your knobs here. They're your normal black knobs, and your input jack is on the front of the guitar. Dual humbucking pickups, and this is wired in the Gibson wiring. So in other words, if you're in the middle and you take a volume tone down, it will cut off the volume for both pickups. Okay, the next in line is the Monoprice Indio Boardwalk. Now this I just picked up fairly recently. This is the latest 335 style that I've included in the Shootout. This has got the same type of black knobs that you find on the 338. The difference being is this has got, from what I can see in here, this has got full size pots, whereas the pots in the 338 are your small size. They're the dime size pots. This body style is basically the same. It has got the binding on both the top and back of the body. This is an all maple body and maple top with a flame to it. It's got a flame maple top cap on here. Again, it's a set neck. Again, it's the same in scale as the 2475. You can see that the tuners on this are pretty much the same as they are on the FF338. It's got a little bit different headstock, more intricate than what you'd find on the Firefly. This has the fret markers starting on the first fret, whereas the 338 starts on the third fret. Again, this is dual humbuckers with a TOM bridge and stop piece, very similar to the TOM and stop piece that is on the Firefly FF338. The difference I can see here in the hardware, however, is I believe the hardware is a little nicer. Again, I had no problems with this particular bridge where I did have to replace this one. The F-holes are cut out just as nice and done just as well. This guitar is heavier, and that's probably because it's an all maple guitar instead of a mahogany guitar, and you can see the weight on here where it comes in at around 8-point-something pounds there. So this is the heavier of the three. Work on this particular guitar was basically the same. I restrung it and I cleaned and conditioned the fretboard and polished the frets, and that's all I had to do. No problems with intonation, no problems with setup at all. Okay, so now we'll go over the Grote, or the Grout. Grote. The Grout, or Billy Bob as I call it, is again another 335 style guitar. This one was a little bit different in that I didn't have a guitar like this in a matte finish. So this has got a matte finish. This has got what they advertise as a printed maple top. You can see the grain in it, obviously, especially with the matte finish, which makes it very, very unique. And this has got sapelli wood on the sides and back. It is again a set neck, a 24.75 scale guitar. This also has the fret markers starting on the first fret like the Monoprice does. They are like a block or rectangle type of marker, as these are as well, except they're a little bit more smaller. And if you look at the 338, the markers on this have more of a design to them. They're carved on the sides. They're not just a standard rectangle or block. They have a carving and a curve to the edges. This has got dual P90s in it, which was another reason that I really like this guitar. Again, the knobs are pretty much the same. They're kind of like a top hat knob with a three-way switch down here. You'll notice that there's no polka chip on here, nor was there a polka chip on the Monoprice, which I like. And also you'll notice on this that I have removed the pickguard that was originally on it. I just wanted to show this finish a little bit more, so I left the pickguard off of this. The Monoprice came without a pickguard, which again I like. Again, you had bound F-holes. Again, they're done very, very nice. No issues that way. There's the back of the guitar. I'm thinking it's the same, almost same style tuner that is on the Monoprice and on the Firefly. They may be Jinhos. I'm not positive on any of them, but they all have been holding very, very well. And this is the lightest of all of the guitars. Again, I'll show you the pickup here for the weight on the scale. This was on about 6.5 pounds, as I recall. So this is the lighter. The Firefly is next at 7 point whatever, and the Monoprice at over 8. So lightest, next lightest, heaviest. This is also the only one that came in with a metal embossed truss rod cover. Again, not a big deal, but it might be important to some. I like it. This also has got a nice Grout, whatever their emblem is on there. This has a bone nut, and again is equipped with the P90 pickups instead of the dual humbuckers. Okay, so let's do some measurements and see what the actual body sizes are and how they compare, okay? So first of all, the 338, so from horn to horn, 9.5 inches. And on the widest part of the bout, we got 15 and 4/16. 15 and 4/16. Width-wise, the body width is 1 3/4 inches. Now on the Indio Monoprice, body width is just shy of 1 3/4 inches. It is 1/16 less than 1 3/4. So this is actually a 1/16 of an inch thinner than the 338. On the horns, it is just shy of 10 inches, so the horn spread is wider. And on the bout, it is 15 1/4. 15 1/4 inches. The body is 1 3/4. Exactly. So it's exactly as wide as the 338. And this is about a 1/16 inch thinner. On the horns, it is 10.5 inches wide. So this has got the widest horn spread. And on the bout, I think this is going to be wider as well. And it is, because this is 16 inches. So this has got the bigger body this way as far as width goes. Alright, so there's a measurement of the body sizes, with the Grout being the widest of horns and the widest of bout. The Grout and the Firefly being the same width at 1 3/4. This width is at it's a 1/16 less than 1 3/4. And a smaller body. But the heaviest of all three. Okay. Moving on. So all three guitars are made out of different material. The mahogany with the maple neck, the maple with the maple neck, the sapelli with a rosewood fretboard and maple neck, and all three are arch tops. The top is not flat, the top is arched, but all three have the same type of bridge system. All three are the same scale, and all three are semi-hollows with a wood block coming down the center of all three. Okay, so now for today's tone test, I'm going to plug these guitars individually into the 15-watt Monoprice amp with the Celestion extension speaker that has the Vintage 30 in it. At first, we're going to run it completely dry. I'm going to plug directly into the amp, no effects, to see how they sound clean. So gain on 3, volume center at 5. Everything else is at 5 with 1.5 on the reverb. Now you'll see as I turn one volume down, I lose the volume of both pickups. Again, that's just the standard Gibson wiring. So that's clean on the 338. Now we're going to switch to the Monoprice. Again, the input jack on this is on the side. Going to go back to 3. I'm in the bridge. Go to the middle. are in the bridge. In the neck. So there's the Monoprice clean. And again, I had the volume and tone control set just like I had on the FF338. Now let's grab Billy Bob here, the Grout. Again, input jack is on this side of this one. I'm going to back these off to 5 and 6. Tone all the way up. 3 on the amplifier. Now a lot of people think because these are P90s and they're single coils, they don't sound as clean, nor are they as less noisy as the humbuckers. But they're awful quiet for P90s, which I think is very, very nice. Now I'm in the bridge. And the neck. And a combination. I think there's a bit more jangle. There is a better highs, a little bit more bite with the P90s. So there's the Grout clean. Alright, so now I'm just going to run the guitars through the effects rack here and through the Monoprice just to give you a little bit more flavor to see what we've got going on here. Alright, so now I'm going to run the guitars through the effects channel here into the Monoprice and just add a few things, but I'm going to leave the volume and tone controls on each guitar all the way up, and the only thing we're going to do is switch between pickups and between middle positions, okay? So just to give you an idea. So there's all three guitars, clean and dirty. So there's your comparison, folks. Now for my final thoughts on all three of these. Now if I was to buy just one and not have the option of having all three of these, that's a very, very tough decision to make. As far as sound goes and what I like the P90s on the Grout. There's just something about P90 pickups that I enjoy. I enjoy them better than humbuckers. So sound-wise, my ears tell me the Grout. As far as playability, they all play pretty much the same. Obviously, this plays a little bit slinkier because I have 7s on there. But as far as strumming goes now with the 7s, it doesn't sound nearly as loud unplugged as the other guitars do. And I did that in my other video. I showed you the difference in volume just from a standing position to sitting position unplugged. You can hear that. And then you can hear the Grout. Right, and then of course, now this is not going to sound as bitey and as clean as those because this has got 7s. So, not a fair test. But I did do that test in my other video, and as far as projection-wise, unplugged went, the Grout was the louder of the three. And again, I think it's probably because it's got a larger body, so it's got a little bit more air it can push. But the Grout and the Firefly 338 are very, very close now. And of course now the Monoprice, again, not a fair test because I did change the strings on that and brought them down to a 7-gauge string, which is not exactly an acoustic style string. But play-wise, they all play the same. Fret-wise, they all feel the same. Again, they were all in the same price point. Again, when I bought this, it was $129. They are now around that $189 mark, $199, depending on the top that you get, over $200. The Grote 335 with the P90s was $159 when I bought it this past year. I believe they're now, I don't think they have the one with the P90s on there, but the one with the humbuckers, I think is $189. And again, similar in price now. And of course, the Boardwalk was the more expensive of all of them. It was $249, but I got it on sale for $199. I think hardware-wise, finish-wise, and probably, build-wise, it is probably the better of all three. It is certainly solid. It is an all-maple body. So I think for the money, plus you get a gig bag with this, I think for the money, for the best buy out of the three, I believe, would be the Monoprice. The humbuckers in the Firefly, I think, are a little bit hotter than they are in the Monoprice. But the sound is similar. Really, really tough. I can't pick one out of all of them. I can pick things about each one of them that I like or dislike. A lot of people don't like the Indio splashed across the headstock of that particular guitar. It doesn't bother me. I like the way it's cut on the top and it's more beveled and what have you. It looks nice. The guitar body color comes up around the side, as it does on the Firefly. Firefly's got a simple cutout, and the Grout is pretty much a simple cutout as well. All three of them have very nice inlays. More intricate inlays on the Firefly, so I guess I can give it a point for that. It's tough, folks. They're all around the same price. They all play pretty much the same. I did have some hardware issues with this when I had to replace the bridge. I haven't had any issues with the Grout. Haven't had any issues now with the newer of the three, the Monoprice Indio Boardwalk. The finish on all of them have been very, very good. All of them were dressed well. All of them had good necks, good frets. Again, just clean up and some conditioning of the fretboards. All of them needed that. All of them needed to set up. All of them needed new strings. So, again, that's in my opinion. I know it's supposed to be a shootout, but it's very tough for me to like pick one over the other. I like all three. I think all three are a great buy. The Firefly now has an advantage in that it has a lot more different finishes that you can get for this particular model of guitar. So that's an advantage. The Indio Boardwalk is just a beautiful looking guitar. It is a flame maple top. It is an all maple guitar. It has very nice hardware and it plays very, very nice, and it comes with a gig bag. That's hard to beat. The Grout is a very unique design only because, again, in this particular model, it is a matte finish. It came in very, very nice. No hardware issues. It plays very, very well. No intonation issues, and it's got the P90s that I prefer over humbuckers. So, I know it's a shootout, but I can't pick one. I think up to you folks on what you think you'd like to have. Do you want the possibility of getting a really, really cool finish like the Firefly might offer you? Then I would look at Firefly. The Boardwalk comes in a few finishes. The amber, like this one, it also had a couple of other colors, but it's pretty limited. The Grout, although I have not seen the 335s with the P90s in them, but they have, when they first came out, they had a red and they had a green and they had a sunburst in that matte finish. So 3 options there. I think there was 3 or 4 options here, and there's probably, I don't know, 20 options in the Firefly as far as finishes now. Though you don't think you'll find a wine one anymore. They're all pretty much flame maple tops now, and burl tops, and you know, burst tops and that type of stuff. So that's what the best I can do for you today, folks. It is Jimmy Stewart, and I'm going to call it a day. I know it's a shootout, but I can't make a decision. They all are in my stable. They all are part of the herd. I wouldn't want to get rid of any one of them. So, again, based on pricing, what you can get on sale, and the finish that perhaps you really want would be the deciding factor. I don't think this thing's in playability and or build and or overall quality that would distinct one from the other. I think they're all built very, very well. Again, they're different guitars, and I think you'd be happy no matter which one you got. Thanks so much for coming in today, folks. Thanks for stopping. Thanks so much to all the subscribers. Thanks for the recommendation of trying to do this. Again, probably not what you wanted to hear. You wanted me to pick one. I really can't. I like them all. So until next time, folks, it's Jimmy Stewart saying so long. Take care of yourselves. Please stay safe. Please stay healthy. And we'll talk to you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye for now. Back when these were on Amazon, they were $129 when I first picked this guitar up in the standard finish. They didn't have flame pop. They didn't have flame tops. They didn't have the burst tops. They didn't have any of that stuff. They just had the basic finishes: black, red, white. No, black, red, whatever.